Hi everyone, welcome back to Life with Sonia. So today we're making a apple cinnamon cake. For this cake, we're going to start off with first 2 apples. You can use any variety of apple that you like. You're going to want to peel and dice these apples. You'll also need a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. So let's dice the apples and coat them with the sugar and cinnamon, and then we'll move on to the next steps. Okay, so I've got my apples diced. I'm just going to coat these in the 1/4 cup of granulated sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And you're just going to mix the 2 together until it's well coated, and set this aside, and then we'll move on to our next step. Alright guys, so next we're going to need to make the cinnamon topping for our cake. So for that you're going to need 3/4 cups of brown sugar. Light brown sugar. You're going to need 1/2 cup plus 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter, and then 2 teaspoons of cinnamon powder. You're just going to mix everything together and set it aside for when we need it. So I'm going to pour the butter in, and then we're going to add in our cinnamon, and we'll mix the 2 together, and then I'll show you guys how it looks once I'm done. And then this is how it's going to look. Great, so we'll move on to the next steps, and then we'll put everything together. Okay, so next we're going to make our batter for our apple cinnamon cake. For this you're going to need 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 cups of granulated sugar. You'll need 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 cup of unsalted butter melted, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. You're going to need 1 cup plus 1/4 cup, so 1 1/4 cups of milk. You can use full fat or 2%. And then you'll also need 2 eggs. You're going to want to whisk these eggs before adding them to the batter. So let's start mixing our batter. All right, so to our mixing bowl, we're going to, I don't think you guys can really see me. Just 1 sec. All right, so to our mixing bowl, we're going to add our 3 cups of flour, the granulated sugar, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, our vanilla, just 1 teaspoon, 1/2 cup of unsalted butter. Okay, and then you're going to want to add in your 1 1/4 cup of milk. I've used 2%, but you can use full fat if you like. And then our 2 eggs. However, you're going to want to whisk your eggs before you add it to the batter. That's 1. Okay, just whisk these guys together. And you're going to add them to your batter, and just mix your batter until well combined, and then I will show you what the next step is. So I'm going to mix, and I'll come back and show you how this looks. Okay, so now that our batter has been mixed, so it's mixed well, it's nice and smooth. It is a thick batter, so don't be alarmed. You're going to add to this the apples that we had prepared earlier with our sugar and cinnamon. So you're just going to add these in and then fold them into your batter. Okay guys, so next I've put in the apples that we prepared into our batter. You're just going to fold these in, and then we'll transfer our mixture to our prepared pan, and I will show you what the next step is. Okay, so now that we have our apple cinnamon mixture well incorporated into our batter, we're going to transfer it into our prepared pan. So what I've done is I've greased a pan with butter, and then I lined it with parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, that's fine. Just grease your pan with butter or oil if you don't have butter. And then you're going to transfer your mixture into here, and we're going to top this off with that cinnamon mixture that we had made earlier. So let me just get this in the pan, and then I will show you how to do that. And then we're going to set this in the oven to bake. Okay, so I've got my batter here in the cake pan. What we're going to do next is we're going to take that cinnamon, brown sugar, and butter mixture that we had made earlier and set aside, and we're going to dollop this over our batter. So show you how. If your mixture sets up and it gets really firm, just microwave it for like 10 seconds and it should liquefy again. You don't want it to be super runny, but you don't want it to be solid either. All right, so you're going to take spoonfuls and just pour them over your batter. Leave a little bit of space between each. Okay, and then what you're gonna do is, so because I use a slightly smaller pan, I'm not able to get all of my mixture in here. Use a 9x9 or 10x10. Take a knife or anything thin, and you're just gonna run it through the batter back and forth, and it's gonna create like a nice marble effect with the cinnamon. So I'm gonna do this and I'll just show you guys. And it also ensures that the cinnamon kind of gets all the way down into the cake. Okay. So this is how it looks. You can't really get a really good look at it, but that's how it is. I'm going to put it in my oven at 350 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes, or until you insert a toothpick in the middle and it comes out clean. And then I will come back and show you how the finished cake looks. We are going to make a glaze to go over the cake, so while this is baking, I will show you how to make that glaze. Alright guys, so our cake is done baking. I took it out of the oven and I've let it rest for about 15 minutes. I wanted it to cool down a bit before I pour the glaze over that we're going to make. So it's not at room temperature, it's just been cooling for 15 minutes. For the glaze that's going to go over the cake, you're going to take 1 cup of confectioner's sugar, which is powdered sugar, and 40 ml of milk. You're just going to pour it over and mix the two to make a glaze. Now that our glaze is done mixing, we're just going to pour this over our cake while it's still warm. So just pour it over. And then just use the back of the spoon or spatula or anything to help it spread on. And then that is it. We're going to allow our cake to set, then we'll cut it and I will show you how this looks. Hi everyone, so the cake is done. It's incredibly moist. Just the smell of the apples and cinnamon tastes amazing. You have to try this recipe. I don't know if you can see, but it's such a moist, rustic, beautiful cake. If you're serving this warm, have it with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. It would be so good. I'm gonna have this with my favorite, a cup of coffee. I've made this coffee, I first had this when I was in India like 10 years ago, and then my aunt taught me how to make it. So I don't know if this coffee is popular in other regions, but I am going to make a video right after this showing you how to make this coffee. It's just so creamy and frothy and light. It's just delicious. It doesn't taste like coffee, it tastes like a treat. But try this recipe out, let me know how you like it. Check out the next video for how to make this delicious coffee. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video. Thank you.